Marvel's next big movie is Doctor Strange 2 Into the Multiverse of Madness, and it's already causing huge controversy, and it's not even out yet because they've just done an additional 6 weeks extensive, crazy, major reshoots because the movie is in a freaking mess. No, it's not, but some websites will have you believe that. Why? Well, there is some precedent. Benedict Cumberbatch, who plays Doctor Strange, recently said in an interview around Christmas time that his character doesn't actually have a lot to do in his own movie. So, yo, what is freaking good, YouTube? Warstu here. If you aren't new around here, make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the videos. Check us out on Twitter, WarstuG, because I've got like 5 followers on there. Check us out on Instagram at Warstu, and subscribe to the channel to never miss any of the videos. So, it's very interesting when it comes to the Multiverse of Madness plot leaks, because after Tobey and Andrew appearing in Spider-Man No Way Home, aka Spider-Man 3, aka the culmination of 20 years of Spider-Man history, no one is ever going to say anything is impossible because, to be fair, Sony Pictures, Columbia Pictures, and Marvel Studios in collaboration actually did the impossible and brought back Tobey and Andrew Garfield after they were both treated so badly when they were let go and replaced instantly. So let's get into this video. So careful for spoilers. We can't say what is true and what isn't true, but what I can say is most of the information in this video has been vetted and has been clarified, and a lot of other super duper Twitter fake scoopers, because they're pretty much leakers, have all saying the same thing. So let's get into it. So first, we're going to go over the potential cameos in this movie. So it is highly documented online from all the Twitter super duper leakers that Warstu Warstu's not. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. So let's get into it. So everyone is saying that Tobey Maguire is going to have a pinnacle part in the third act. I don't know why it's needed, but for some reason, I feel like this is going to be true because they've seen the success of Spider-Man No Way Home, and they're going to throw Andrew and Tobey into every movie they can, predominantly, so I can see that coming. So something that's been doing the round the last few days is Tom Cruise is going to be a variant of Iron Man, but that is the oldest rumor ever. I think that goes back before the Tobey and Andrew rumors started. That is going back over 1 year that Tom Cruise is going to have one scene in the movie, and for some reason people are reporting that like it's a brand new report, but honestly it is a pretty old report. So this is a big one. Brother Voodoo will appear, although it doesn't really say who is gonna play him, but that would be darn interesting. Now this is another big one. Leonardo DiCaprio rumored to be in a role. Now this is coming courtesy of Daniel RBK. Now I don't know if she said that, but it's there. And it's also worth saying that Tom Cruise is gonna play Tony Stark from a different world, and apparently he could have another role down the road. Now something that's doing the rounds, which is pretty interesting, is Chris Evans apparently is gonna play the Human Torch from the Fox universe and Hydra Captain America as well. Now that would be freaking interesting. Also, something that's being thrown out there is Joaquin Phoenix is gonna cameo as Stephen Strange from another universe. Now it is worth saying that a lot of these cameos are already filmed and could happen, and just because things haven't leaked doesn't mean it's not real. Also, Bold the Brave is going to appear. God, it's already rumored to be a 3-hour movie, but this movie's going to be crazy long. Captain Carter apparently is going to make an appearance, and allegedly Marvel really wants Hugh Jackman to be in this, and there's some sources saying that possibly Hugh Jackman might have a cameo in this movie. And I don't know why some people are listing America Chavez, because she was supposed to debut in Spider-Man No Way Home, and there's actually concept art that proves that, but American Chavez is going to be a big part of this movie. So there is so many freaking cameos allegedly in this movie, and they're all pretty consistent. Tom Hiddleston, Loki to appear in this movie. Okay, we kind of presume that will be the case. Monica Rambeau, yeah, we kind of presume that every single character that's already been revealed in the Marvel Cinematic Universe could appear in this movie. So it's pretty consistent. Now, something that's came out recently is they are going to have Shimagura in this movie, but it can't legally be called Shimagura. It's going to be called Gargantos, as the marketing material does imply it is Gargantos. In the trailer, throwing a bus at Doctor Strange and at American Chavez, although you can't actually see American Chavez very clearly. Now, what is interesting here is I've seen a lot of the comments on the other video we did on the Doctor Strange 2 leaks, and everyone's like, yo, bro, it's not Shamagora, you're wrong. I get it. It's not Shamagora, but it is Shamagora. According to everyone online, it is Shamagora, but it's got to be Gargantos because of the legality and the legal issues, because Shamagora appeared first in Conan, and apparently there's some legal disputes. So basically, Shamagora is in this movie, but they're just gonna be called Gargantos instead. Confusing as hell, I know. So I did say in the last video that it would take me 30 minutes to do a video. It might not take me that long, but there is a new plot leak that's come out that I'd like to go over because this one's actually pretty darn interesting. And then we'll see how it correlates to the other plot leaks. Now, like I said, guys, the problem with plot leaks is you never know what is real, but what isn't real. But what is consistent is Wanda Maximoff is still the overall villain and the main narrative is still the same. Although this plot leak we're going to go on about, I will link it down below, unlike other people, is it doesn't really list everything. It's just a brief kind of plot leak. Now let's get into it. So, movie will start with a different Doctor Strange and Wong in an alternate universe that seamlessly is very identical to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We are meant to think that these are R. Strange and R. Wong. These alternate Strange and Wong are then unexpectedly killed by an unseen force rather violently. These are supposedly the most violent deaths in MCU history, pushing the PG-13 rating. And I made a comment about it yesterday when I said that DC's for adults, Marvel's for kids, and people are like, yo, but Thor chopped off Thanos' head at the start of Endgame. Yeah, and it wasn't violent at all. They snapped everyone. Yeah, they turned to dust. That wasn't violent. My gripe with this is this movie should be, we have a rating in the UK called a 15, which is pretty much the highest rating you can get because most movies in the UK don't make it an 18, but this should be a 15. But let's see what they can do pushing the barriers of PG-13. We get to see this from the perspective of an unseen force as it stalks those alternate Strange and Wong variants, which I think is a homage to Sam Raimi's Evil Dead. That's pretty interesting. The main MCU Doctor Strange would discover that the MCU is starting to melt. Strange admits to Wong that Thanos was actually meant to win in Endgame and that he forced fate to change by manipulating the events that led to Tony's sacrification. The various times Strange messed with the reality is what is causing reality to break down, including the events of No Way Home. Now, if this is real, I always read this like I think it's real. I hope they make it clear when exactly this all started, and maybe they show a scene in No Way Home to make it clear to the Marvel general populace that don't understand much. So let's go on. Strange finds Wanda and asks her for help. We see this in the trailer, although everyone's like, no, Wanda can't be the villain because she's the hero. I'm like, haven't you seen WandaVision? She's clearly going to be one of the villains. Strange knows everything about Westview and has been observing her, although it still doesn't make any sense why he never appeared. Apparently it was due to what's going on in the world. The orchid Wanda lives in, it isn't actually real Wanda, it's an illusion. She's actually living in a creepy forest. Wanda reveals that she has been studying the multiverse, saying there is something in the center of the multiverse that might help Strange fix the MCU and give Wanda what she really wants, something that even Strange hasn't heard before. Now, if you remember, the context, the prerequisite is after WandaVision, she has a dark hold, we hear a kid screaming, and essentially she is looking for her children. Strange knows that Wanda has been hearing her children calling out to her. They use each other. Wanda uses Strange to find her children. Strange uses Wanda to navigate the multiverse. So Strange is going to use Wanda. Wanda's going to use Strange. Damn, this is a toxic relationship in a way. They meet an alternate Mordo who starts attacking Strange, mistaking him for the other one. Mordo tells Strange that the biggest threat in the universe is a version of himself who seeks out other strangers to kill them and absorb their power, wants to be the only Strange that exists. I mean, that does sound pretty cool. The evil version of Strange is similar from the one in the What If, but is a separate character nonetheless. The version of Strange is from a world that has history that's identical to the MCU, except in this one, his Christine Palmer married another man. After the wedding, she gets hit by a car and dies. They meet another Strange. This one has a different costume with a ponytail, obviously so the general audience can tell the difference between them. This Strange comes from a world where the other half of the Avengers got dusted during the snap. They never got the people who were dusted back. So this Strange built up a new team called the Defenders, inspired by the original Avengers. We meet plenty of Doctor Strange and Wanda variances. Now, this is very different to what the other plot leak says, if you like. We also get to see the aftermath of the timeline where Thanos won. Now, that would be freaking cool to see. This is said to be rather terrifying. Evil Strange isn't the main villain after we are led to believe that is the case. Wanda portrays him. Strange, once they get to the center of the multiverse, it was actually some sort of magical tomb on a pedestal. Wanda uses it and gets corrupted by the chaos magic. It allows her to finally pinpoint her children in the multiverse at the cost endangering everything. They also fight various monsters across different universes. Now, I presume that's Gargantos, but for some reason, obviously, we read these like these are real, but it doesn't mention Gargantos, which is heavily marketed in the marketing already to make you think Wanda isn't the villain. Wanda finally finds her children, but they belong to a younger Wanda. This Wanda is the sister of Quicksilver from the Fox X-Men universe. Wanda kidnaps the children and the rampage through the Fox universe, which is now also breaking down. The Fox X-Men show up. The three Stranges team up against Wanda. There is no way to fix the MCU and the Evil Stranges universe. Evil Strange goes insane, fights Strange, and Defender Strange, he ends up killing himself out of guilt. Now, this is the ending scene, which is gonna be controversial if it is real. Movie ends with Wanda sacrificing herself, merging the MCU and Fox-Men universe. The MCU is now retconned so that mutants were always here from the start. Now, the discrepancies from here is doesn't list American Chavez. American Chavez has the ability to go through the multiverse, so you can't really have this movie without her. That is factually correct. We know that America Chavez, we know she can go through the multiverse. Gargantos is going to be marketed like the overall villain, but Gargantos isn't going to be the overall villain, and some people will get confused with it being Shamagora. Now, if we go to the original plot leak, the ending here is slightly different, but still pretty much the same in a way. So it said on the original plot leak that Wanda is full on beast mode, full on villain. She ends up winning, but it says this: no more mutants, but they do a reversal. But instead of no more mutants, they end up bringing instead of getting rid of them, which is interesting here. So the other plot leak says she kills herself, and that brings all the Fox X-Men characters over. But here it says that they do a reverse, no more mutants, but instead they actually bring the mutants through. So they both are quite consistent. This one implies it's going to be more of a House of M vibes kind of esque. This one is in much more depth, talks about Earth being the MCU, Earth 616, the Illuminati, even goes into depth of Patrick Stewart having to fight Wanda, Wanda killing Patrick Stewart. Why I'm skeptical about both of them, but realistically, a lot of people are talking about a lot of the prerequisites and a lot of the same information is predominantly they are both the same, but they have slight inconsistencies. It's essentially a multiversal war of Wanda trying to find her children and Strange trying to save the multiverse. He can't do it, and Wanda wins. And on one of them, Wanda sacrifices herself to win. It's pretty interesting and pretty weird, but there is a lot of previous shot out there. The Patrick Stewart taking on Wanda is real. The Illuminati stuff is real. Everyone I've spoke to keeps saying Tom Cruise is in this movie as Tony Stark. Evan Peters allegedly isn't even in this movie. It's going to be interesting when people find out Wanda is the main villain and Shumagora, aka Gargantos, only has a minor role in this movie and is actually controlled by Wanda in order to help her. So this movie is all about Wanda. It's going to be interesting to see which other details come out. Like I said in the previous video, I did say it would be about 30 minutes, but it's actually nowhere near 30 minutes. The movie is 4 months away. There is going to be multiple new plot leaks, new information, new cameos of because the Joker's going to be in this movie, right? Yeah, there's going to be so much information coming out about this movie. The movie has to be around 3 hours, which I do find fascinating because of all this stuff. Literally, there is going to be 25 cameos. It's basically Avengers 5. This movie is glorified Avengers 5. Now, this is somewhat of a tidbit and an issue I have with Marvel movies is they can't stand on their own to front free. They have to have all these other characters included. But then there are other sources says during this movie, the Illuminati has captured characters who pose as a multiversal risk, including Red Skull, Magneto, Sylvie, etc. So it is really hard to understand actually what's going to go on in this movie because there's so many alleged Ian McKenna as Magneto's returning, Warstu, Sylvie is in this, but Loki isn't, but Loki is. There's so many reports that counteract the other report, but I think the majority of what we said in this video about how it's going to go down is actually how it's going to go down. So if you want me to keep up the Doctor Strange 2 videos, keep liking, keep commenting, keep smashing that like button. Let me know who do you think you want to have cameo in this movie because a cameo is a glorified cameo. Is there any point of cameos? If they serve a purpose, it'll be very interesting. So like always, guys, let me know. What do you think of this updated plot? Do you think Wanda is gonna die? Do you want Wanda to die? Or do you want the other ending where Wanda wins and she says no more mutants, but they do a reverse House of M kind of S storyline where she pretty much sounds like this movie is to introduce the X-Men long term, and it is a cool way to do it. So like always, guys, check us out on Instagram at Warstu, check us out on Twitter, WarstuG, and I will catch ya in another video very soon. Catch ya later.